Hello, everyone. Mike Arnold here, co-founder of Pat Trading Partners, along with Bob Ichino. So, Bitcoin sold off, got caught on the 50. Very powerful. That's why you can't just ignore those targets. Hit the first level. There, we didn't get a clear reversal pattern here, down here. So, had to wait till it got back above the trend line to trigger a trade. When you're doing that, then you watch for a return to the highs. You can also use these GAN levels going back up. So you could use the 10,841, move the stop up. Then you use the prior high, swing highs, this 11,065, which it just hit. This is also a great way. We now have our GAN boxes coming from the lows on the 25th up to the highs on the 27th. And then here's a great way to also use the reverse GAN boxes. So we're going to go from this low that was just recently formed back up that high. It's called reverse GAN box. And look at that. It gives us an intermediate level, which can be used for stops, or I guess if you want to take profits, 11,171. So you'd be raising your stop there. Then look at this really nice cluster. We have, what is this? About 11,282. Right in here, right there's a cluster. So that's definitely an area to take profits or raise stops. And then we still have the other level from before, 11,511. Let's check out on the daily chart how that's looking. So now keep in mind, these start going into the big wicks from before where there was massive selling pressure. So there's definitely good areas to raise your stops up in here. And you see now you have the rising rotation zone. This dipped into it and now has turned around, getting above the candle bodies and also above the 50 period, 50 day in this case, exponential moving average that was flat. That was some prior resistance, now moving nicely up. If we do pull back, let me switch back to the 4 hour and see what we're looking at. So minor pullback, we're looking for roughly this 10,727. More significant pullback, we look for the tops of these candles as prior resistance, and then we have the rising 21 coming in roughly that, so that's 10,550. If we did have a sharper pullback, as far as we wanted to see it pull back is right back to us about 10,395 to 341, where we have the hooking up 50, which also was prior support. So that's your key support levels you will be watching for Bitcoin. Switching over to Bitcoin Cash, which did not have a double, so we just used GAN levels. This slightly dipped into it. Then we got a strong reversal. This did form a double bottom though. Really nice double bottom pattern with an extended move above it, giving us the full target of 1293. And the safer target of 1281, both which were hit. You see, we hit those targets, got a nice little pullback, and now we're rising up again. Just wanted to point that out. That's how you can use these doubles. That was the only reversal pattern we had at this key cluster area, but you still have to wait for it to trigger. You don't just front run it because there was no guarantee it was going to trigger. Again, keep all that in mind. Same thing with this one. You can do a reverse GAN box also up here and see where that falls. So that doesn't give us much concrete level. It just gives us, we're watching for this 1313 level. Right now it's trading against this 200 flat and declining moving average. So that was sort of resistance before. Let me extend this other box down to the same lows from the Fibonacci retracements. So we don't have a really great cluster up here. Our high-end target is about 1341. The mid target is about 1320. So those are the ones we're going to be watching for. This other thing didn't provide us much clarification or any additional targets. So that's the ones we're going to be looking at. On a pullback, our support levels are now coming in. Let me update our level to here also. And I should have done that. So let me revise that again. Sorry about that. Now let's redo this and see. Sometimes when you do make mistakes, you got to double check. Now we have a pretty nice cluster right around here. 1327 to 1328, so I had made a mistake. I should have updated those other levels. Again, that's why you double check your work and you can go back and fix it. If you make a mistake with your levels, go back and fix them. So at this point, we got 1327 to 1328 is our key area we'll be watching once it does break above this 200 simple moving average. On a pullback, 1265 first level. Then the major support coming in about 1245 to 1240. Don't want to see a close below 1245. Let's check out on the daily chart how that looks. All right, right now, again, major resistance. Remember that 200 simple moving average we just looked at the 4 hour. We're also trading against the top of the rotation zone. So we're finally getting a solid move up in here, but this is still going to be resistance. So still, if you did pick any on, that's a great place to move up your stops because of this significant resistance area. And then you can always move them up again on this 1328 cluster, and then possibly take some profits or move your stops again on the 1351 cluster. But we're still trading against resistance, the rotation zone, so this resistance area is very key for right now. Finally, switching over to Bitcoin Gold. Bitcoin Gold coming down to our next scan level and this prior support level, this 108, and then reversing higher. No great patterns here, and also against the rotation zone, and this spiked up very quickly. So now we're just going to be watching to see if we get the first cross rotation zone, and if we get a pullback and a rotation back up. So key support we're watching for is about 113.50 to 114. If it does drop below that, we'd be watching for it to return back to down to this 110 level. On a rally, next major resistance area is this 118.85. which you can see all this prior resistance right here. Again, we focus on the candle bodies more so than the tails, because the tails poke and then close down. The closes are key, and again, a lot of closes line up with the opens, but we're looking at the candle bodies right in there. That's, you should really get a habit. People focus on the highs or the lows, but is this the stopping point? Is this it? Is this it? Is this it? No. I'd rather have this target level so where I know to take action, because of all this times it's poked through there but couldn't sustain the move above there. So that's the key level I will be watching. Right now, see, it spiked above the 50, spiked above the 50, spiked above the 50, but has not been able to close above that. So now I'm watching for the pullback to this area and then see if we can get a strong rotation back up. Looking at the daily, Bitcoin Gold, let me expand this, get the perspective. Again, we're trading against this 8. This 8 has been a big struggle to get through. We pretty much closed on it, opened, and then plummeted down. Now we're back to this 8 area. So between the 8 on the daily and the 50 on the 4 hour, those are our key levels that we want to see a sustained move above that. If we do drop back down, then we'll be watching for a return at 108 and then the 107 level, and then we have the other levels which have not changed from before. Keep in mind, we still are against the rotation zone, and this is a lot of overhead resistance, so don't get carried away yet with Bitcoin Gold, and make sure you're moving up your stops at the key levels, or if you bought some of the dips, taking some profits off. So we have for you in the Bitcoin series tonight. We'll talk to everyone soon. Bye for now.